हाँ नहीं कवर घालून का Good afternoon, Madam.
I was not getting connected, so I was a little worried. I said, now what do I do? Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Malati. I was wondering, where are you?
Yeah, so I sent a message to Suchasmita. I'm unable to connect, but luckily, yeah. So I've been behind the screen for the past 15 minutes. Finally, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Malati, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, Rupa. It's so lovely to have you. And
so
I realized how famous you are. Some of my friends said, oh my God, is it Rupa and all that, you know?
Oh, really?
So, yes. I said, you've become a very famous speaker around India, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, I speak a lot on investments because that's my passion. So,
So in fact, Indian Federation of University Women's Association is really blessed to have you
always
with
a
us.
pleasure. It's an honor and a pleasure that you gave me this opportunity, Malati, ma'am.
And ma'am, I take this liberty to express that it is an honor and pleasure to listen to attend your session.
Thank you.
It's really eye-opening every time. Like last time also it was.
Yeah, last time, so I still cannot forget it, you know, last times. Yeah. The one which you shared about your father. Yes.
Malati, has the resource person logged in?
Yes, she is only Rupa Venkatakrishnan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think it's 5. Give it 1 minute more and we'll start at 5:35.
Sure. Yes, we'll start at 5:35. Yes.
Hi,
Okay.
Rupa. Hi, Marti ji. Hi, Anjana ji.
Hi.
Hello, one.
I rushed back,
Just to see you, Vandana.
I was out of the, whole day I was out in the field and then I rushed back. I said, I should not miss your session, Rupa.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I just took a bath and it is boiling hot here. It is horrible in Delhi.
Delhi.
It's
We have people from Delhi. We have from Dehradun.
Yeah, Dehradun, lucky people are there. I think Pune is also good, Malti ji. It's very.
Pune is better today. Today is better. And Calcutta, of course, Ranjana Tai is from Calcutta, Ranjana Di. Pune is represented.
Dehradun is also quite warm.
Is it?
All of India is burning here.
Coming to Dehradun, Mussoorie.
Please, most welcome.
No, but
delighted to have you.
there's no respite, There's no point in coming.
Because of the tourist influx, it's not so nice, Piles of garbage in the Char Dham Yatra, and every day everybody's talking about it. Not so nice anymore. Unfortunate.
I know.
Ma'am, our student is here, but for some reason she is unable to start the video of her device. Chitrali Kumbhojkar, she'll be doing the anchoring today. Okay, Chitrali?
Good
evening,
everyone.
Chitrali
Am I
is
audible?
here, but she's not able. Yes, Chitrali, you are audible. So I was just telling ma'am telling everyone that you are not able to start your video. So it's okay. We'll just go ahead with that. Ma'am, shall we start the program?
Yes, we can start. Yes, sure.
Good evening, everyone. I'm extremely sorry I cannot, switch on my camera. I'm Chitrali Kumbhoskar, student of SYBA from Kaveri College. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all the honorable dignitaries present here. I request Mrs. Malati Kalmadi ma'am, Honorable Project Convener of Indian Federation of University Women's Association, to address the session. Please, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Chitrali from Kaveri College. Welcome to the second last session of Swayam Siddha. We have been holding these sessions for the past 1 year, and this is the 9th session, and the 10th, it concludes with a session next month on legal, especially cyber crime. So it's ending with that. And this session is about financial literacy, plan your future, plan for the future. So we have with us Rupa Venkatakrishnan, who was there earlier and who had taken us through understanding how to manage our finances, especially as women. And because normally we think it's a man's job to be handling money and finance, but she has opened our vision towards understanding money ourselves. So I thank Skillslate for helping us reach out to more people. And of course, we had about 180 who had registered for this event. Some of them were unable to attend today, but they've asked us to send their recordings. They said, we have registered, but please send us the recording. So I told them, if you have registered, then we will see that the recording reaches you. So I would not want to delay anything further, because Rupa is not somebody new to us. And she has so kindly, she lives in Bombay, and she has so kindly agreed to open this session for us. And I request Chitrali to take over. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I request you all to join for the lighting of the lamp session.
शुभं करोति कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदा शत्रुबुद्धि विनाशाय दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to request Dr. Anjana Banerjee, ma'am, Honorable President of IFOA, to address the session.
Thank you. The journey for 1 year is slowly coming to an end, but I must give my fullest support and my thanks to the project convener, Malti, for steering it for 1 year with all the necessary programs that are much needed to develop women's empowerment. And I think the 2 sessions of the financial empowerment occupies one of the most important areas, because unless we are self-reliant, unless we know how to manage our finances, by saying we are empowered really doesn't make that much of a sense, because our decision-making powers actually comes when we learn to handle and manage our finances. So the project committee's entire effort in trying to build up resilience and trying to build up leadership qualities in women have met with true success. And coming down to the last session, which is going to be held next month, I think over 1 year, we have been enough educated and enlightened about the different facets of empowerment. My greatest thanks to the resource person, Rupa, today, who is going to take us through a greater nuances of the financial management. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would now like to introduce our speaker, Mrs. Rupa Venkatakrishnan, Director of Sapient Wealth Advisors and Broker Private Limited. She has been a part of the mutual fund industry since 2003 and has been indulged in spreading financial literacy in all parts of the society. The last session on financial literacy by her was very useful in order to make the participants understand the difference between financial independence and financial security. The participants were aptly guided about the different avenues of managing finances and many more. Without taking much time, I would like to request Rupa ma'am to enrich us by her knowledge in today's session of financial literacy, plan for future. Please, ma'am, can you please take over?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chitrali, for introducing me. I first of all like to thank Ms. Malti ma'am for giving me this opportunity, and also Dr. Ranjana Banerjee for giving me this opportunity. Both of you have been the helm of taking forward this enlightenment, to enlighten all the women and empower all the women. And it's very essential and it's need of the hour at this point of time. And thank you so much. And it's been an honor to address everyone. And I'm going to basically share, going to talk about the future of investments, basically retirement. I think most of the people start looking at retirement when we are in the 50s. And just before we start celebrating our 50th birthday, is just after that people start panicking and saying that, oh, I only have 5 to 6 years to, to have my job, and then I'm going to retire. How am I going to live? I think it just brings in a fear at the age of 50 to most of the people, and it never starts early. So I'm just going to share so basically, I'm just going to share how so basically what retirement resonates to. Basically, the retirement resonates to all of us at some point of time. As I said, once we start celebrating our 50th birthday, saying that we are getting old, we need to be secured. We have to, now that we have to look at life a little differently. We would be not having an income every month, and now we have to survive on our money that we have saved all our life. And so it just brings in a lot of anxiety in most of the people, but it is so simple to basically understand and take it forward. On this particular panel, you're going to have people who are young, people who are in the middle age, and people who are just maybe going to retire in the next few years. And I'm going to basically highlight the entire process about how do we actually look. It's so simple, but it's the fear of thinking about it makes a lot of difference to all of us. So why retirement planning? When I said we resonate retirement, and it basically talks about protection post-retirement to maintain our lifestyle. All of us, as when we started few years back, there are aspirations, we want to live better, eat better, travel better. So all of these aspirations still remains, and it keeps on, that aspiration keeps on becoming a larger part of our life, even after retirement. So we need to see that how that money can be saved. Inflation is one of the reasons why that we ignore inflation to a larger extent. All of us know there is a price escalation and inflation which is there, but we are not able to relate that to a number, that how it will get impacted to us. Increasing standard of living, which is what I highlighted, and the rising healthcare cost. I think this is one of the most important thing that we miss. If you remember in my last presentation, I had highlighted about, in spite of insurance policies, you need to have a corpus, because there is an escalation cost of 11% inflation cost of medical, where your blood test, how expensive is going to be your blood test, your x-rays, your CT scans. These are some things which we don't account for actually only when we face the reality that we come to a situation where it becomes very difficult for us to think, say that, will I be able to ever afford all of this? So why is it that we need to seriously think about retirement? And one of the major reasons also because our retirement span has increased. People live longer. People live longer today till the age of 85, 90, 93. We are seeing in our own house, our parents, our grandparents all have been living a longer life than what it was 10, 15 years ago. Now, also what happens is if we don't think about, and we live till 85, and because of the fast moving life that we live in, with the kind of pressures that we go through today, with the kind of competition, people burn out by 40s, late 40s and early 50s. So the career span is actually reducing to a larger extent for all of us. And also to keep up to the competition and changing technologies, it's becoming extremely difficult. What I observe is saying that I have a lot of my family members who are working in banks. They started their career 25, 30 years ago. But in the last few days, they've been not able to cope up with the kind of technological pressures that they have to go through to understand technology. So they all have to take voluntary retirement. So it becomes extremely difficult for us to put all of these aspects into consideration. And also due to medical advancement, the kind of, even today a cancer can be cured and people can live for 15, 20, 30 years, even after, if you're in the first and the second stage of cancer. So the medical advancements has also brought in longer life. And one of the examples was, you had a pandemic and within 9 months, we could actually have a vaccination to protect the human race. I think it's never happened in the last 50 years, saying that a vaccination was invented in 9 months to save the world. So that's one of the reasons why we say that retirement span has increased dramatically. People, in fact, if you remember the last time when I showed you saying that people live 30 years after they retire, and their career spans have become 25 years and they live 30 years after retirement. So the money that you have has to sustain your lifestyle even after retirement for 30 years. So obviously, after listening to all this, there is always a confusion at every point of time. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, to understand saying that where do I actually stand today financially and how do I take it forward? I'm sure when I'm talking, a lot of people who are hearing on this Zoom call are going to have a fear saying that, how am I going to take it forward? Okay, I'm hearing what I'm supposed to do and what I have not done. What is it that I start off with? So basically, I have put certain points that, and the myths that we have. I think one of the biggest point of when I have been talking to investors over the last 20 years, there have been so much of myth in their mind saying that saving is necessary, but I don't know if I will live for the next 20, 30 years or not. That's the first thing people say. Who knows if I'm going to live long? But we have to prepare ourselves to live long. There are quite a few you say, I'm so young, I don't even want to think about retirement at this point of time. I want to live happy and I want to spend whatever I'm earning. The third myth has been saying that bank is the safest place to keep my money and I'm going to keep my money in bank. So there is a difference between savings and investments. People think saying that just keeping money in the bank is going to be savings. But investment is what people don't think about it and people don't take initiative in their lives. I think one of the biggest thing that I have heard because of, human inhibitions, we say that I don't enough to save. And I have met a lot of people who come back and tell me I don't have enough to save, correct? Now, I think this is one of the biggest myth, because you have avenues where you can start investing at 100 rupees per month, 500 rupees per month, 1000 rupees per month. And those, it's like every drop of water becomes an ocean. That's what we have heard. In the same way, every drop of money that you save can become an ocean of wealth over a period of when you retire in the next 20, 25 years. And that ocean of wealth is going to save you to survive. So it's a myth saying that small money will not grow. And that's something I want today to every listener here, saying that please take out that from your mind. It's not worth saving if I only contribute small amounts. This is what I said. People think saying that small amounts are not going to make any difference. I'll just give you just a simple example. If somebody had invested 1,000 rupees for the last 28 years, 1,000 rupees for the last 28 years, it's 336 months. In the 336 months, you would have saved 3,36,000 rupees. That 3,36,000 today is 1 crore 20 lakhs. That's the kind of compounding that you can do, and it is just 1,000 rupees. So that's the difference that we can make, in spite of the fact that if it's small amount of money that you save. Again, investment is only for rich people, and I don't have enough money. This is the most important, which I've felt, especially in women, saying that my partner takes care of the money and I don't worry about it. I think this is one of the most scariest part, which I feel, saying that where people come and say that my partner takes care. They could be doctors, they could be lawyers, they could be professionals, teachers, they could be any across all. Everyone thinks saying that either their father, husband, brother, or someone will take care of the money, and they don't have that ability to take care of the money. Please come out of that myth. I believe, and I'm very strongly believe, saying that women are extremely good at managing wealth. If they can manage a home, they can also manage wealth. Because I go back and always feel saying that when every woman is given a certain amount of money by their spouses to run the home, now during that period when the money is given, and in the month, the number of guests who come to eat is not accounted for. Children who bring in their friends to eat is not accounted for. In spite of all that, the woman of the house is able to manage her. She never says there is no food today, in spite of the fact that, but she will manage it so well, saying that. So women are very good managers of money. And I think this is one thing which I want to tell every woman on this particular presentation that I am making and on this call, that please don't feel that you're not capable. You are 100% capable. You need to try it. And I know, saying that most of you are teachers and most of you have been teaching for a long number of years. You instill values into students, saying that you can do it. When we don't study well, when we are not able to do, you always come and give us that confidence to say that you can do well, you have the ability to do well. In the same way, today, I am taking that freedom to tell you, everyone, all of you can manage money. Please don't have the myth saying that you cannot manage the money. So now that I spoke about the myths, so there is a question saying that, how do we plan? How do we take it forward from here? And how do I start? I think that's the major question that each of us have. So the first thing that all of us need to write is saying that, when do I retire? I think all of us have this thought into process, saying that, will I retire at the age of 50? Will I want to retire at the age of 55? Or I would like to work a little longer. So we need to write down, saying that, when is that time that you want to retire? Also, how long will I live? Because most of the longevity of life comes from genetics also. A lot of families, if you see, saying that their ancestors, their parents have led a longer life, you will also get a sense about your family, your friends, saying that how long you're going to live. The third is, what is my monthly basic expenditure? I think I highlighted this in the last presentation, saying that it's very essential to work. What's my monthly expenditure? What's going to the inflation and how much I would require after a certain period of time? What will be my cost and expenditure in the future? So obviously, when you have the basic expenses, monthly expenses that you have, we will be able to work out the other numbers. Do I have enough contingency funds? This is most important, saying that we need to have contingency funds built in, because this contingency fund is very essential for the reason, because I think COVID taught us, when the whole world was closed down and the only thing that was running in the house was electricity, telephone, entertainment, and food. And for all of these, we needed money. And so contingency funds are very essential for everybody. How much have I provided for my health and medical care? That's what we also need to highlight. What do I own and what do I owe? Which means saying that what is my assets? Do I have loans to be repaid? How much is my loans to be repaid? Either it could be home loan, car loan, personal loans that you have taken from people around. So everything, if you put down, I think from there we can make a plan to say that how do I work on my retirements? So then it has to be thought, saying that after you put down all of this, saying that how will I be able to generate my retirement corpus? And especially one important part of things which I want to highlight is, all of us need to write down, saying that what is that purpose in life that you want to do? Because what happens is, during our careers, there are a lot of aspirations which we have, which we have not experienced, or we have not done it for the reason because due to our commitments in life, we have kept aside our desires. And I think most of us after retirement would have those desires to be fulfilled. It could be traveling, it could be, going back to on a sabbatical for 6 months on a travel, or so, some people have started doing wildlife photography, some people have started doing trekking all around the place. So it's very essential to write down, because each of those hobbies also has a cost to it. So we need to put in everything and say that how much is, apart from the food and everything, you also need to have an aspiration which also needs to be put down and say that how much that would cost. Now, for all of this, whatever questions that I have written, I 100% want all of you to understand, saying that you will have to go to a professional to sit and guide you to go through this whole journey of your investments. Whoever you feel comfortable, there are so many financial advisors across. There are people in the bank, there are people everywhere. Whoever you feel comfortable, please go and sit with them, make a plan and start working. It's very difficult for any individual to do it on their own, because it's a complete professional work that you will need to guide through. Because when you're doing your investments, the most important thing is investment. We are all humans. We are very emotional in nature. When it comes to investments, we are very emotional, but we have to be very, very rational. We have to be very, very focused about where we have to reach. During this journey of 20-25 years, we are going to go through a lot of crisis. Not only your personal crisis, but also crisis in the whole ecosystem, which could be, you will have earthquakes, you will have floods, you will have economic crisis, you will have countries going bankrupt, you will have situations like what happened during COVID. So these are all, your markets will correct 30-40%. You will have interest rate hike, interest rates coming down, inflation going up. So these are all dynamics of the market. And during all of this, you will need somebody to guide you and handhold you. So it is very essential, saying that you really need to go to a professional. So I did talk about saying that while planning, what are all the elements that you need to put down. So one important aspect, I think I did touch upon this in my last presentation. When I talk about inflation, correct? It's just a general number on inflation, saying that I want to just highlight some important data to give you very simple, because inflation is a very jargon kind of a number. You hear everywhere. But to basically understand in simple words, I've just put down in the last 42 years, this is a data from March 1980 to March 2022. It's a 42-year-old data, which says 42 years back, if somebody had an household expense of 10,000 rupees, that household expense today has become 2,18,000 rupees today. That's and that average inflation in the last 42 years has been 7.61%. That's the average. Now, if someone had invested plain vanilla as fixed deposits, because we are very risk averse, we don't want to take risk, that's what we've been taught. If you had simply remained invested in a fixed deposit, that money would have only appreciated to 2,64,037, because the last 42 years, the average FD rate, we've taken State Bank of India because we have data of State Bank of India of the last 42 years. That is only at 8.10%. So technically your real return, which is 8.10 minus 7.6, which is your inflation, is only 0.49. So imagine if you had a 10,000 rupees and if you had invested, you would have remained poor. You could not have, your standard of living would have been the same. It would not have gone up at all, because your money with you is only 2,64,000. Gold, which is what is, we feel saying that gold is so much safe and gold is the best thing that has happened. What you hear, oh, I invested in gold, it's appreciated so much. But if you look at in the last 42 years, gold has only appreciated at around 9.08%. Again, if traditional investments, we don't do FD, we only put in gold, it would have only moved up to 38,500, 3,85,000 rupees. PPF, which people have been doing for last few years, it's around 9.52. Now, equity, which means if you had invested in stock markets, companies, then that 10,000 has appreciated to 45 lakhs and 55,000, which is at a CAGR of 15.68%. Now, this 15.68% has gone through in the last 42 years a lot of turmoil, where the markets would have corrected 4 to 5 times at 50%. There were recession, there was bull markets, there was an earthquake, there were wars, and you had calamities, interest rate hikes, interest rate low. You had a currency in 19s, there was a currency issue. So with all of those turmoils that we went through, the upheavals we went through, we still have a return of 15.68%. I'm just going to highlight this for the only reason because it's important to be in an asset class which beats inflation so that you sustain your standard of living. The myth which I said, saying that you want to be safe, you only want fixed deposit, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be financially well off, you have to think differently than what other normally people think. Only when you think normally out of your box that you are going to succeed. If you're going to do everything what normal people do, then you will never be able to do something different for yourself. You'll never be able to financially be, abundance will not be there for you and your family. Now this chart, I'm going to relate to my next chart, because at the end of it, when I talk about inflation, I told last time also in my last presentation, it's called purchasing power. When prices move up, it's not the price which moves up. It's basically the value of your money comes down, correct? If you have a 2,000 rupee note today, that 2000 rupee note, when you go to a shop and buy something, exactly 6 months down the line, that 2000 note will not, you won't be able to buy that particular thing, because the price of that particular product would have gone from 2000 to 2100 or 2050. So what happens is your purchasing power is coming down, because the prices are, it's about how do you invest and see that your money grows. So that's what we say, inflation isn't about prices going up, it's basically your value of money coming down. Thus, as I showed in my earlier chart, that equities are the only asset class that gives returns above inflation and can compound and create huge amount of wealth over the long period of time. I just gave an example of 1,000 rupee SIP, how much wealth it could create. It's exactly that. Long investments, small investments, but compounding is very important to your wealth, and your money has to grow above inflation to sustain your lifestyle. If you don't invest prudently, and if you don't see that your money doesn't grow above inflation, then I think what would happen is you're going to outlive your money. And I am sure all of us want to have money that outlives us rather than we outlive the money. If we don't invest prudently, if we don't invest smartly, not investing in equities, only investing in fixed deposit, gold, real estate, and traditional things, which we are going to do, which most of us do over the period of time, we are going to die poor. That's very, very important for us to know. And that's the reason why all of us need to understand one of the biggest risks is you have to set a goal for every investment move that you make. It could be a fixed deposit, it could be shares, it could be your real estate. Never do any investment with an emotional heart. You have to be rational, you have to be practical when you think about investments, and you have to be very, very serious about to understand saying that if you don't invest smartly, you're going to die poor, because that's the reality. And you can see that reality a lot happening today in everybody's life. I've been experiencing that for a lot of senior citizens because of not investing very smartly, not investing in equities, only investing in real estate, gold, and fixed deposit is actually giving them nightmares, because they're not able to survive and they're not able to maintain their standard of living. So I just wanted to highlight here saying that retirement goals are never thought in the early 20s and 30s. I think what we start thinking in the 20s and 30s is saying that, oh, I have a long way to go for retirement, so let me think it a little later. But it's very essential that we start thinking about it as our career starts, and we bring in the discipline and commitment to invest, so that as I said, our money grows and we are able to compound over a long period of time to have abundant wealth. So I just wanted to highlight certain things which we miss over a period of time, is saying that why that you have through 2 stages of retirement, and how do you plan those 2 stages of retirement. I think the first stage is about accumulation stage. In this stage, we invest, we build our retirement corpus. The longer we will be able to accumulate in this stage, easier is to build a sufficient retirement corpus. And we can start even thinking earlier retirement if you have start saving early and you have a large corpus that you can make. And the second phase is basically a distribution phase that we are in life, where your income stops growing, and from your retirement corpus, you need to start investing. Your corpus has to start generating income for you. And I think this is where we say that it's very essential that we plan, we put down our numbers, we put down the essential facts into consideration to see that how do we live comfortably. So there are, as I said on this Zoom call, there are a lot of people in different stages of their life. I think the most important thing that we need while building a retirement corpus, we always emphasize saying that to start early. We say don't hesitate to cut unnecessary expenses, which means if you're able to write down your expenses on a monthly basis, I think you will be able to understand and you will have an idea where is that you are spending that unnecessary spending that you are doing. Create an ideal investment portfolio, which I said earlier, saying that it's very essential to have an asset class between fixed deposit, real estate, stock, mutual funds. You can do through mutual funds, you can have direct stocks, but equity becomes an essential part of the investment process. Invest regularly on a monthly basis or whenever you have money. People who are in businesses, I have heard a lot of people who are in businesses who say that my incomes are not regular. So, we can't do a systematic investment plan, which means invest every month. So it's very essential saying that you bring in a discipline to get from your business, how you can, take out certain amount of profits every month or every quarter to start investing regularly. So when you're retired, we need to look at the regular cash flows which come in. Liquidity will be the key concern for you once you retire. And also the instruments which we have to invest where you get regular interest or dividends. Please always, this is one of the most important things, saying that please be wise to have exposure to equities. In today's time, even a person who's retiring or a person who's 60, 70, he will require 60 to 70% of his wealth into equities, because otherwise it's very difficult to survive. Even if you are the person who are very, very conservative, even in a conservative portfolio, you will require 30% equities and 70% debt to survive. As interest rates are coming down, you will have to compensate that with the wealth has to grow, and you also need income over a period of time. So when I said longer the period that you save, I think this is one good example that I wanted to highlight here was, so I have three people. One is Ram, Raj, and Rahim. So if you look at Ram, he started investing 5,000 rupees from the age of 25 years, when he was 25 years. As he started early, his 5,000 rupees corpus became 3.24 crores of rupees. Raj started at the age of 30, 5 years later, but his 5,000 rupees only could generate 1.76 crores of rupees. Now, if you look at Raj, he started in the age of 35, which is 10 years after what Ram started. And when he started investing that 5,000 rupees, the money was only at 0.95%. By the time he was 60 years of age. So this is where we just wanted to highlight, as you start early, even if you have small amounts of money, the wealth that gets created, this is at a CAGR of 12% that we have calculated. The longer the number of years that you stay, even with a specific amount, the wealth will start generating over a period of time. So start early, and you will be better off at a later stage of your life. The 5 strategies for early retirement definitely is saying that, so it's basically you need to create a monthly budget, which is absolutely essential. You need to track your expenses. You have to start saving early. You have to create a financial plan. As I showed you in the earlier plan, what is that you want, when are you going to retire, how much is the money that you have, your monthly expense, how much do you need, what do you aspire, all of those short-term, long-term needs, you need a plan. And please, you have to repay all your debts by the time your retirement comes. I have met a lot of people who still have housing loans going on, even at the far end when they retire, or even after retirement, they would have EMIs to pay. So it's very essential saying that these are the important aspects and strategies that you need to build in when you actually start thinking about your retirement journey. So what are the key considerations that you all have to look at? Of course, all of us know saying that it's regular cash flow, protection of capital, liquidity of your investments, and keep up to the inflation. This all of us know saying that these are the key considerations. Now, what are the investment options available today for, this is for people who are going to retire in the next few years, that I just wanted to highlight what are the options that are available. You have the senior citizen savings schemes, you have the post office monthly income, your bank and company fixed deposits, you have senior citizen pension plan, which the Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana Yojana, which is done at the Life Insurance Corporation of India. Then you have the tax-free bonds, then you have annuity plans from life insurance, which are available. Then you have debt mutual funds, balance funds, and then you have equity funds. So you have all of these options. And if you asset allocate your fund in all of these or few of these and plan your life, I think that's where your investment option comes for people who are on the verge of retiree in the next few years. I think the major pitfalls that all of you should avoid is basically saying that underestimating the income that's needed post-retirement. I think this is where most of us fail when we retire to sustain our lifestyle. Underestimating the impact of inflation, not planning for healthcare, and carrying debt into retirement. I think these are the major pitfalls that we all have to avoid when we start planning and when we start thinking about investments. So I think I have ended my presentation from how do you plan your life, how do you take forward your life. You are at different stages of your life. As I said, I don't know the age of everyone on this group. So you will have people who are young, middle-aged, people who are going to retire, or people who have already retired. And so how do you plan? So I think I covered most of the points that I had to. I'm open for question and answers. And I had one more point, is all eggs in one basket. I think I've seen people who have invested all their money in real estates and nothing which is there as liquidity, because they felt saying that real estate is very good. I will have a regular income coming as rent, which will come to me. But I think the pandemic taught us saying that during that period, a lot of people stopped paying rent, a lot of people's household income stopped because people didn't have salaries to pay. So we need to not put everything in one basket. We have to asset allocate into different asset classes, which I shared it in the previous slide. And I just wanted to have these disclosures. These are mandatory disclosures that we need to have. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm waiting. If you have any questions, I'm ready to take those questions.
Ma'am, if you don't mind, can I read out the questions if they are in the chat box?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What is your opinion about this cryptocurrencies, ma'am? Now everybody is talking about it. What is your advice upon it?
So if you ask me about cryptocurrency, I don't understand cryptocurrency at all. And as a finance person, I basically have only understood saying that any asset class has to have a fundamental, either a balance sheet or it has to have a fundamental asset behind it. I really don't know what is behind a cryptocurrency as such, correct? And any asset class which has a volatility on a day-to-day basis of 30%, 40% is not an asset class. It's a gambling. It's a gambling mechanism. So if you ask me my personal view, I have no idea about crypto, and I will just stay away from it. And I will also tell my clients to stay away from it. We have many options where we can create wealth. Crypto is not the only one.
Ma'am, there's a question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Asking, will REIT be good for investment?
Sorry?
Will REIT be good for investment?
EIT. I didn't get what is the full form of EIT.
REIT.
Tanima, madam, there is one Tanima who has asked this question. Will REIT? Could you please, spell out the?
REIT. Okay. REIT. Okay. So,
okay.
So basically, REIT is
real estate.
Real estate. It's a real estate fund. You need to understand the risks and everything on that particular fund, and then you can invest as an asset allocation. To small amounts that you can do as an asset allocation, but you have to sit with somebody to understand, saying that are you fit to invest into that fund or not, because it's a little riskier fund, it will be a little volatile, returns will be volatile, it's a real estate fund, so obviously it has its own risk. If you understand that risk, it's a good fund, it's a good investment, but you need to understand the risk, and you have to sit with someone to basically know, saying that how do we take it forward, and do I invest or not? So I have to share with everyone, saying that there's nothing wrong in any investments. There is nothing which is good and nothing which is bad. It's all about to understand, saying that does it suit me or not? So for example, I will just take an example. If you go to a doctor, so many people have high blood pressure, low blood pressure, they have diabetes, but each patient's medicine which the doctor administers is completely different, because you need to understand, saying that we have a certain amount of every body is different, every body has a certain amount of pluses and minuses. So when the doctor prescribes that medicine, each medicine dose is different for different people, but the disease is the same. It's a diabetes, it's high blood pressure, low blood pressure. In the same way, when you talk about investments, each investor, each client has different needs and different goals, because each of us come from different backgrounds, each of us have different lifestyle, each of us have different income, each of us have different commitments. So that even that investment that you are doing is something which we have to go to an expert to understand, does it suit you or not?
Ma'am, there's one more question asking, what does contingency corpus mean?
Yeah. So this, I think, is by Ms. Geeta Shetty. So basically, contingency fund is basically you have 6 months of household expense or 1 year of household expense that you keep aside in a fixed deposit or a liquid fund somewhere, saying that if you don't have a certain amount of income, if you like crisis like when what happened when COVID struck. As I said, our income stopped. A lot of people's salary company deducted their salaries. We didn't have income to come in. Rent stopped. So at that point of time, you can fall upon this contingency fund and use that money for so that your cash flow doesn't get impacted. It's like a reserve fund. or an emergency fund. We talk about emergency fund, right? So this is contingency fund, you could associate as emergency fund.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. I think I just read one more question, which is by Ms. Sweta Talwar. I'll read the question. Mutual funds are supposed to be a good and diverse option, but how to decide which one is good to do well? Same goes for shares and IPOs. Building a vast knowledge bank to decide, or this not easy? How do you suggest to build this expertise? Okay. So I think, as I said, this is a very specialized field, okay? When it comes to choosing a mutual fund or an investment, or let's forget about, I will give you an example. Do you think you need advice for fixed deposits? Everybody will say no, right? You don't need advice for fixed deposits, correct? But the fact of the matter is you even need guidance for fixed deposits. I'll give you an example. 2011-12, interest rates had gone up after the Lehman crisis. So a 10-year fixed deposit was available at 10%. 1-year fixed deposit was available at 11%, and 3-year fixed deposit was available at 10.5%. Okay, 1 year at 11%, 3 years at 10.5%, and 10-year fixed deposit was at 10%. Imagine, what would you buy? You will buy the 11%, right? You will all buy the 11% because most of them went for 11% because 10% is for 10 years, but 1% difference. What happened? People took 1 year fixed deposit. The next year, the fixed deposit came down by almost around 2% and it became 8%. So when you renewed your fixed deposit, it was 8%. Now, if you had taken a 10-year fixed deposit for 10 years from 2012 to 2022, you would have got 10% in spite of the fact that in the last few years, fixed deposit came to 5%. But for that also, you need guidance because you don't know how the interest rate movements happen. So a lot of clients put all the money into 1 year fixed deposit. But even in fixed deposit, you should think, how much do you need after 1 year? How much do you need after 3 years? And how much do you need after 10 years? Because most of the fixed deposit are renewed every year. So if you do that asset allocation or to break it up and say that what's my short term and long term, you would still average out your fixed deposit. So even a fixed deposit needs somebody to guide you, to help you see that your average returns become high. In the same way, when you're talking about mutual funds, I always advise saying that go to someone who is an expert, understand, and over the period of time, you will be able to learn and you will be able to have confidence saying that how do you build your portfolio. And you will also learn over the period of time. And it's a vast subject. It's dynamic. Every day is a new story for us. Every day there is a new development which keeps on happening. So our eyes, ears, everything has to be open. There is no one day which is the same for us. So obviously the dynamics of all this investment keeps on changing. So Sweta ma'am, I'll just advise you to go to an expert, sit with there and take the guidance.
Yeah, thank you so much. But at times experts also give you wrong decisions. I have already made a few mistakes over FDs and in companies which just failed. And so one really.
Can I just pitch in, Rupa?
Yeah, sure.
Rupa, it is not only been informative, but one of the best things that I saw in your slides is the one that came in the myth.
Yeah.
And truly speak about this that women have. My husband is very nice. He's taking care of my fund. And they're very proud to say this.
Yeah.
I don't have to bother. He takes care of all my, and the one fine morning when the table turns, she is the worst affected victim.
Absolutely.
So I think of all the myths, yes, I'm young, I don't need to say these concepts, they start changing with age.
Yeah.
But this fixed mind, I really appreciate you putting in that line because I've seen this even in the educated society.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful session.
Yeah. So it's very important. That's what I said, Dr. Anjana ma'am, saying that every woman is capable of handling, but we don't want
Yes.
to handle because there's something which says that, oh, I don't want to handle it. This is going to be handled by someone else. As
Yes.
you rightly said, when the tables turn, I have seen families go through a real hell. Real hell.
Absolutely.
And
I tell you, the other thing is that, you know,
Yeah.
this is a misconception that, oh, women cannot handle accounts.
Yes.
They are very poor at maths. They don't know how to go, which is right investment. Now, what is the concept of right investment? That somebody has to learn. And that is something which we gathered from your presentation today. It's really been eye-opener in many cases.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So there is one more question which talks about Shilpa, right? Saying that, is there any golden rule which will work for all investors? Anything which is standardized? There is nothing standardized which will work for everyone. It is very, so standard will be saying that, okay, aap fixed deposit kar lo, aap, you know, thoda sa mutual fund kar lo. But at the end of it, standard will not give you extraordinary life. It won't give you extraordinary wealth. You need to actually go and sit. This is very specialized. Your life is special, very specialized. You are very special. And you need to sit across with somebody and build a portfolio, even if it's small. वो छोटा सा रहेगा तो भी जाना चाहिए. ये मत सोचिए कि मेरे पास बहुत कम पैसा है. It doesn't matter. वो छोटे पैसे से काफी कुछ बड़ा हो सकता है. I can only share with you, I have a client who stays in Andheri slums. वो अंधेरी slums में रहता है. मेरे को 15 साल पहले मिला था. और वैसे ही I'd been to a client's place to talk about investments and he was hearing me. He does massage for people. Today he's worth 1.2 crores. Okay.
Lovely.
So it's not about who, where, it's about determination, it's about small money, it's about how do you take it forward.
And ma'am, how rightly you
Amazing.
said that it's about in the right time to start. I think he started early.
Yes, he started early and he didn't have the inhibitions to ask me. He said, I want to save. He didn't have inhibitions to ask me. So I asked him, I said, do you have 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees? He started with 1,000 rupees and he evolved. So what I'm trying to tell you, we as human beings are very ashamed. We feel the other person has more money than me. We feel this product is for rich people. I think we have to come out of all of that.
There was a very important question which was shared. I think somebody missed it actually. It is about.
I can't hear you. I missed you.
Ma'am,
It
there's
was
a
about-
I
question.
think you can stop sharing the screen.
Okay, you want me to stop sharing the screen? Just one second. I'll share.
Ma'am, there's a question. I think you missed that. How to save on tax when you reach the savings limit?
So there is nothing you can save tax after a certain amount of limit. The only choice is how much money you want to make and pay taxes. Taxes are a part of the system. Just because of taxes, don't stop investing and don't stop saying that I don't want to have more money. The more the money, the more the taxes, but you have to earn more. So after a certain limit that you finish, I think taxes are a part of the dynamics of the system, so you can't have any escape out of it. So I always pray every year. I always pray that I have to pay more taxes because only when I earn more, I'll pay more.
Ma'am, there's one more question.
Yeah.
Is it better to invest in reality?
In
What-
reality. Real estate. In
Yeah.
real estate, right? So each real estate has, it's not that real estate is not a good investment, it is a good investment, but obviously it has its pluses and minuses. Like liquidity is going to be an issue. Real estate also has maintenance cost. Real estate also has taxes that you pay in the form of your, I think your taxes on property taxes, you have to pay water taxes, maintenance. So all of these are a cost. So as I said, there is nothing wrong. It is about how much you allocate. Like if you have the 20% in real estate, 20% in fixed deposit, 20% in, certain investments which you like you can have gold. So each of them, if you have bucketed it equally, then it is fine. But if you're overly invested in real estate, then obviously it's not right. It's not a prudent decision, because each of them has to be within a limit. It's like I have a diabetes, and if I'm not supposed to eat sweets, and if I only eat sweets, my health is going to be a problem. But if I eat it in limits, then I would be fine to survive. It's the same way with investments. Everything is fine, but everything is with a limit that will help you to sustain your lifestyle.
Ma'am, should we think about 5 years FD in today's scenario?
Very difficult to answer this specific question like that. We need to understand, saying that what is your goal? Where have you reached? Do you have enough for yourself to retire? So I would write some more specifics to answer this question.
Vinny ma'am, could you please ask, because she has raised the hand and she has put the questions on the her question in the chat box as well.
Let me see.
What will you suggest to spend in online gold or a mutual fund?
No.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
What will you suggest to spend in online gold or a mutual fund?
Which means investing in gold or mutual funds, right?
Right.
So I'm going to say the same thing, saying that it all depends upon what's my asset allocation. I am sure people are overexposed to gold in the last few years. People would have a lot of gold, and it depends. We need to look at your investment. How is your asset allocation? Have you invested more in gold? Have you invested less in equities? It's a very, very difficult question to answer. We need to look at how your investment is, and then only we can give you a suggestion saying that where you should go.
There is one question. When we talk about equity, is it mutual funds or shares? By Mini Gogia.
So obviously, Malti ma'am, in the last 20 years, I have only gone, and for me, mutual funds are one of my favorites and one of the best means of for retail investors and all of small investors to invest. Because if you're talking about direct stocks, then your quantum of money that you require to spread your portfolio, you need large chunks of money, correct? If you have 1 crore, 2 crores, and buying stocks will make meaningful difference to you. But mutual funds are basically, small amounts, there is an expert who is already doing a research, and there is already a standard kind of different kinds of mutual funds available, which are large cap, mid cap, small cap, value style, growth style, technology funds. You get a gamut of entire thing, even with that small amount of 1,000, 2,000 or 10,000 rupees. Direct stocks is something, it's a myth that direct stocks give you more money than mutual funds. I can only tell you, Malti ma'am, in the last 20 years, I've only done mutual funds, and I myself only invest in mutual funds. I don't do much of direct stocks because I don't have time and I don't have expertise. I think the mutual fund industry itself in the last 28 years have created so huge wealth. In 2000, 2001, if somebody had invested 50,000 rupees, that 50,000 is worth 30 lakhs today. That's the amount of compounding. So I won't say that direct stocks is not good, but that is for someone who has an expertise and who has large amount of corpus, I think mutual funds also will give you that targeted return for you to reach your goal.
Thank you so much for the answer.
For any criteria to select a mutual fund? Like
So basically we have so at Sapient, we have a, dedicated research team. We have at least around 6 people working on it. We look at the past track record. We look at the fund manager, the pedigree of the fund house. What is the track record? What is their style? Okay, because each fund manager has different styles of his choice. Like you have growth, value, you will have a mid cap expert, a small cap expert, a large cap expert. So there are so many things. Then we also look at fund managers who have gone through three decades of experience of market volatility. There are so many parameters that we need to look at, how it has been performed, the average return for the last 5 years. I'm not throwing jargons, but it's a complete detailed study that you need to look at it and invest, because every fund manager and every style, the fund will underperform every 3 to 4 years. You will never be able to be there in the best funds any time. It all starts very. At the end of it is saying that, am I sticking to my asset allocation between large cap, mid cap, small cap? Have I added certain funds where if I want to have a banking fund or a pharma fund, what is the style that I have put in, a value style, growth style? If I stick to that for the next 20 years, I think your returns will come. I think that there is a saying that 90% of your return comes because you are in an asset class called as equity, not which fund, which scheme, which stock. It's just that 90% of your returns comes because of that asset class called as equity, and your returns will be above inflation.
Can we go in for direct mutual funds? I mean, how to do the research, how to go about it? Or regular funds, are they okay?
As I said, if you understand, so direct stocks, direct mutual funds, if you look at the SEBI guidelines, are for people who are knowledgeable and who are understanding, and you can go and buy directly, correct? But if you are not aware, then obviously you will have to go through a regular plan through an advisor. That is much more easier, because you will have somebody plan for you where you want to reach, because investment is all about emotions. When the market corrects, most of the time you would like to say that, oh, markets have corrected, my investments have gone zero, why don't I come out of it? I don't know what is going to happen in future. So all of these questions would start answering. I would like to tell you very simple saying that if you have headache, if you have a cold, you can have a crocin, you can have your tablets, you can have and cure yourself. But if it goes beyond it, if you have something like, a fracture, or if you have anything which is with regard to your heart, obviously you will have to go to an expert. So it is always advisable to, when it comes to investment, to go to someone who's expert. But direct is something for someone who's absolutely knowledgeable, who understands the subject, who have the wherewithal, then people can go on direct.
My other question was related to FD. Suppose if we have extra money, then with the interest rates that we see, should we put that extra money into a 5 years FD?
So that's what I'm asking you, ma'am. Again, what's your goal? Is your money growing above inflation? Have you created enough money for you for retirement? Okay. Have you enough corpus to sustain for the next 20, 25 years? You have to take all those parameters and then decide that you want to put it in FD or not. Maybe sometimes if the corpus is not enough, then maybe investing in FD would not be the right choice that you're making.
That's okay. But my only concern is that with the present FD rates, like 5.5%, and should we be investing in a 5 years FD? That is my...
I think you could wait for some time, because interest rates are expected to go up in the next few months. So you could still wait for some time and then invest a little later.
Okay, thank you.
There are some very personal decisions one has to take.
Yeah.
With the big gamut of the financial understanding, now what suits me may not suit somebody else.
Absolutely.
I think there's one more last question. I think, ma'am, we can take. What's your opinion about IPO investment? I got lost in the LIC IPO.
What is your opinion about IPO investment? Okay. So when an IPO comes out, in the sense, let's take an, I'm sure this is with regard to LIC. Last 2 years, there have been a lot of IPOs which have come, public company coming and publicly offering their equities. So you need to look at saying that, why are you investing? And is it that you invested because you wanted the company to get listed and you wanted to make money? Now you're writing here saying that I lost money in LIC IPO. Now LIC IPO, the price at which it came is below par from the price it offered. Now, if you have sold it, then you have lost it. But if you're holding on for a longer period of time, I am sure that the stock price will go above that 900 rupees, that whatever had come. So when you're saying that you lost money because you came with a very short period of time, you invested for speculation, which means saying that I buy the stock and when it gets listed, you will sell. But that is where you will make a mistake of losing money. But if you have invested in investing in equities or investing in an IPO is about investing in a business. Do you believe that LIC as an insurer will do well over a period of time? You need to understand the business of LIC. You need to understand the business of insurance, and then you should have invested in that. But from what I realize, saying that this is basically a speculative thing that you have done. You have bought it and you wanted to sell it. But please invest in companies understanding their businesses and their future. So again, Mr. Shyam Giri, you are writing, you're saying that you got Ruchi Soya at 10,000 rupees. Again, Ruchi Soya also went through a crisis because that company had gone down and it was only few rupees and then it was taken over. And now the prices have gone up. Now, I really don't know saying that what is the valuation. I think the valuations are too stretched. So all of those technical things that you will have to analyze. And so it's very difficult for me to answer because I don't tap the IPO markets and I don't do much of IPOs or suggest my clients IPOs, because those are basically understanding the businesses of companies. And I think through mutual funds, because they already do all of these research and invest in these companies, it's better to go with them. I think Dr. Taneja has written a question saying that will there be economic depression in India? Economic depression in the sense saying that obviously interest rates are, inflation is high in India. We have an inflationary environment where interest rates are high. There is going to be, there is a war which is going on. So obviously there is going to be some food prices in the future. There could be oil price, which has been on a elevated level. So all of these aspects will have certain implication on India per se. I am not, it's very difficult for me. What do you mean by that economic depression? But you will see that 2 years of market moving up almost more than doubling, that you will see some amount of correction and some amount of, sanity coming into the market because it was overpriced. So you will see that in the next 6, 8, 9 months, you will see some sanity coming into the markets. But economic depression, I won't put like put that word as economic depression. Yes, markets will go through its volatility for the next 6 to 8 months.
Thank you, Rupa.
Thank you.
I think this will go on. And in fact, as Ranjana just now shared, the two myths, with, are I don't earn enough to save. Many of us, especially small children and other people. And also the other is my partner takes care of the money, so I don't have to worry about it. These are two very important myths that we women need to really look at and see what corrections need to be made. And you threw light on the two stages of retirement, accumulation stage and distribution stage. So these are very, very clear roadmaps for all of us. And another thing is your presentation also gave us the financial strategies for retirement. That was also wonderful. Putting it all into points, that what do you do? What are the 5 strategies? They're excellent. I think it will definitely every time ring a bell and make us really re-look at our lives. And I'm sure that normally portfolios, whenever we talk about portfolios in the educational jargon, we expect it for careers. We say, okay, you must learn to build your portfolio. But here we find that even for finance, you need a portfolio. So one is, if you want to have a good life, then you prepare a financial portfolio. And you want a good career, then you prepare your general portfolio. So portfolios is something which I carry with me, this word, because I think portfolios, whether it is a career or whether it is life, that is very, very important because it charts the way we are going to live our lives. So thank you very much for enlightening us and empowering us with a lot of knowledge that regarding finance and money, it is not the responsibility of only the male members of our families, but we too, as women who know how to manage our homes, can manage the money of the family too. And I suppose that with the tips that you have given in your presentation, it will come a long way for each one of us. We were almost 74 of us, 77 of us who were present in today's session. And I sincerely thank on behalf of Indian Federation of University Women's Association for this very knowledgeable and presentation of yours, because, otherwise we think it's so difficult to understand finance, but you made it sound so easy. And you really clearly marked out, that it is within our capacity to be handling our money. So I thank you very much. And looking forward to meeting you in person now that the pandemic is almost gone. Sure. And this is all to the participants that the next session is going to be cyber crime, understanding cyber crime, and it will be held on 17th of June.
We really wouldn't mind the second session with you, Rupa.
Thank you so much,
Yes. Very lucid and very clear.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Hello, ma'am.
So we'll again trouble you maybe sometime next
Absolutely
in a few months, so that you can take a build on whatever we did now.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Thank you very much. And I thank, I thank Skillslate for helping us reach out to many people. And I thank the Kaveri faculty and the students for helping us, for supporting us in putting up this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, Chitrali.
Chitrali here.
Yeah.
So I would just, like to share my experience for this session. It was really enlightening, and I'm so grateful. And being, I'm actually an economics major student, so I found this session so relative, and I just enjoyed the flow. Also, I think that we gained independence 76 years ago, but there are still some economic pockets in India where we need financial independence as well. So I find you so inspiring that even I just feel that I want to contribute to this country, just spreading financial literacy and making people financially aware and independent. So thank you so much for your session. And I would like, I'll be looking forward to even meet you sometime.
Absolutely. Pleasure, Chitrali. You let me know and we can definitely meet.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for this
Yeah,
session.
and Chitrali, this is the young India that we are all looking at. Okay.
Yes.
So we're very happy
ma'am.
that you are representing that young India. Yeah.
Thank you
Very,
so
very
much,
happy.
ma'am.
True, the
with what
complexity of the
you-
society, they need to be empowered financially.
Definitely. And I just feel that I like there are so many people or so many students like me who are willing to contribute to this country, and I think financially being stable is a very important factor when it comes to developing a country. So I find these sessions like these very inspiring and very helpful. So I can actually widen my knowledge in this, and hopefully help more people who I meet. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
So we can close the session now, Malti?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Ranjana.
Thank you and very good evening and have a very nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thanks. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.